Hello, welcome to my shadowpriest PvP guide for Wrath of the Lich King. In this guide we're gonna be talking about races, talents, glyphs, macros, gearing, stats prio, how to play offensive, defensive, compositions to play as a shadowpriest in 2s and 3s, and some tips and tricks that I consider really important to share with you guys. And without getting further ado, let's get into it. If you are Horse Sharpist, you mainly want to be a Troll Priest because we get Berserking, which will increase your casting speed by 20% for 10 seconds. This ratio alone will help you a lot to get so many Mind Blast, Vampiric Touch, Mass Dispel off on PvP scenarios. We also get the Voodoo Shuffle, which reduces the duration of all movement impairing effects by 50%, so you mainly want to aim to be a Troll Priest. It's okay if you're not a Troll Priest already and you're Dead or Blood because these two Horde races are still okay if you're a Shadow Priest, but mainly you want to be a Troll Priest. As an Alliance side, there's few options also. You can be Human, Dwarf, or Night Elf. I recommend at the start of season 5, season 6 to be a dwarf or night elf. The reason is because you're gonna be more tanky. Dwarf, you have a stone form which is really strong against ferals or rows, and there's gonna be a lot of those. Also there's gonna be a lot of frost mages, so you definitely wanna have frost resistance. As a night elf, you get shadow mail. If you know how to use shadow mail properly, you can shadow mail so many things. You can shadow mail incoming CC like ships, killing shots, so definitely it's a really good ratio. And I recommend being human later on in the seasons when we get access to new trinkets. The new PvE trinkets will help you a lot as a Shadow Priest for the Mana region. As a Shadow Priest in Wrath of the Lich King, there are so many talents you can pick, but I would recommend this build that will help you out in any comp that you played, or most of the comps that you play in 2s and 3s, and also covers all the talents that will help you out with your mana, because we all know that Shadow Priest early seasons in Wrath of the Lich King, and they struggle with mana. So yeah, let's get into it. We put 5 pumps in darkness. We want to play 3 points in Shadow Infinity. This will help you a lot to resist some mana back when someone dispels your dot. Shadow War Pain, Shadow Focus for the hit. You also want to play Improve Psychic Scream, Mind Flay, Improve Mind Blast. It really depends if you play with a class that have Motor Strike or not. Usually you always want to play with other classes that already have Motor Strike. The only reason you want to play this talent is because you play Shadow Priest Healer in 2s. So yeah, definitely like put some points in here. Baleful Shadows is really good because you use your City of Fate. Fate as a PvP Shadow Priest, you use it because we get this talent Improve Shadow Form, which makes your Fate ability now has 100% chance to remove all your movement impairing effects. So yeah, it really synergizes pretty well with this talent. Also Shadow Reach, Shadow Weaving, amazing talent because we get 5 stacks of this buff, and also helps as a buff protection and increase your damage. So you definitely want to have 3 talents in here. Silence, of course, Vampiric Embrace, then improve Vampiric Embrace. Like you'll be crazy whenever like you see the healing you can do as a sharpist with just Vampiric Embrace, so you definitely want to pick improve Vampiric Embrace. You also want to improve the Warren play because increase your damage on your DP, and also makes the DP does instant damage. Also want a Mind Belt because makes your dots have a chance to crit. Shadow Form, you want to play with 2 talents here and Focus Mind to reduce the mana of your Mind Blast. Mind Flay, really good. Mystery, 100%. Increase your hit rating by 3%. Improve Shadow Form, like I mentioned before, for the Fate talent. This plus this is really strong. Shadow Powered, I don't recommend it playing early seasons. I tested out in the beta and it feels good whenever you crit, but I will explain this later on because crit is not as important as a lot of people think. So yeah, definitely I don't recommend going 5 points here, at least early seasons. We got with Vampiric Touch, Pain and Suffering. This is really good talent because it will help you out to reply your Shadow War Pain, and also reduce the damage that you take by your Shadow Word Death, so definitely want to pick it. Psychic Horror, Twist Fate, Dispersion, then 5 pumps on, we go to the Discipline tree, we want to play Unbreakable Will. Silent Resolve, we definitely want to pick it because to cover all over dots and buffs. You also want to play with Improve Inner Fire because it increases stacks of over Inner Fire, and also the effect of Inner Fire, which give us spell power now. You definitely want to play Inner Focus, Meditation for the mana region, and Mental Agility for the reduced mana cost of your insta cast spells. And then These are optional, but I recommend either going for Absolution or Power Word Fortitude because these increase your total stamina by 4%. Put 2 talents here, or you can also like reduce the mana cost of your Dispel Magic. So I will go with the Fortitude because we get the 4% increased total stamina base, right? So it's really strong. Talking about Glyphs, this is just my personal opinion. The one that you should always use is Glyph of Dispersion because reduce the CD of your dispersion by 45 seconds. You definitely want to run this. And these other two, these are really optional to you, but I recommend playing Power Word Shield and Glyph of Fate. This one synergizes so well with your talent, so you definitely want to be using Fate a lot in PvP scenarios such as a shadowpriest. But you can also run Glyph of Inner Fire, which at the end of the day will reduce like 6% damage taken as against melees, or you can run Glyph of Shackle Undead, which will help you out against DKs to Shackle Undead their Gargoyle. So it really depends what you're facing the most, but in my opinion, these are the three best. For Minor Glyphs, I think these are the best. Shackle Undead, increase the range of Shackle Undead by 5 yards. Glyph of Fortitude, reduce the mana cost of your Fortitude by 50%, so you can actually rebuff Fortitude without getting because it's 50%, it's a lot. And Glyph of Fading, reduce the mana cost of your Fade by 30%, since you're gonna be using a lot, especially if you run the Glyphs, so it really synergize really well. One of the macros you should definitely get as a shorter priest is having Dispel 1 to 3 party frames and Dispel yourself. The reason is because as a shorter priest you're a support class and you definitely want to keep your partners clean and dispel their CC like sheeps or novas or diffries, so you definitely want to be fast with it. Another macro you must have as a shadow priest is having psychic horror arena 1 to 3 because you want to be fast whenever you have to use it to either peel or follow the CC chain. Same goes for silence. You want to have arena 1 to 3. You can also have set focus silence, so you can be fast with it. Another macro that I recommend having as a shadow priest is having a Cancelara dispersion. I know it sounds kind of troll, but most of the times you don't want to stay on the whole duration of your dispersion, especially if you have good mana. The reason is because sometimes you disperse and you already got top, but you're out of full mana, or sometimes you disperse just to get rid of an slow. There's so many scenarios, but I definitely recommend having this macro. All of my macros are gonna be listed on my description, so don't worry, you guys can grab them. Talking about gear and stats Prio, it really depends which business do you follow, but I do recommend playing with the Mooncloth set at the start because it will help you with the mana region because Shadow Priest struggle with mana early seasons. So the spirit definitely helps you out. And also there's an option that you can run double set like my friend did in this biz list for the extra resilience. It really depends on you if you want to run a 4 set or 2 set to set for the extra resilience. Definitely helps early seasons to have double set because it's an extra 100 resilience that we get. So yeah, definitely not bad at all. Talking about stats, you definitely need to get 4% hit rating, a spell hit. I know that we have talents on the shallow tree that help us with the hit, but you definitely need to hit 4% because of the dispel match. So yeah, you definitely need to get 4% hit rating and then aim for haste. So basically your main stats gotta be spell power, okay, hit into your cap, spell power, haste, crit, and then spirit. So you definitely want to aim for spell powered, cap your hit, and then get the most haste that you can. This will definitely will help you out with your damage rotation and will make you do the most damage. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Shadow Priest is definitely super strong in Wrath of the Lich King, having such an amazing burst damage and consistent damage with all the dots and all the instants you see like Psychic Horror, Silence, Fear, and all the utility with shields, heals, and dispels that we can bring, either like defensively or offensively, right? I will definitely recommend to always keep track of your positioning. You don't want to overcommit your positioning to get a kill. And one of the main reasons Shadow Priests struggle a lot is when they get 2 minutes on top of them. My best advice is to always put your insta dots on the main target and then use your dispels offensively on them. And then after that, you get all that off. You want to cast some BTs. Obviously, you want to try to juke them and then get the BT off without getting kicked. One of the huge things about Shadow Plays is that if you ever get kicked on Shadow, you can still press Dispersion. This is something that a lot of people doesn't know because maybe they play retail, because on retail, if you get kick on shadow, you cannot press dispersion and then you get burst down. But actually in Wrath of the Lich King, if you get kick on shadow, you can still press dispersion. So it's actually really cool to know, and you actually have to keep this in mind that you don't want to be afraid of getting kick on shadow even though you're getting trained. um, Actually, another thing that is important to know is that shadow form does not cost a lot of mana to get back to shadow form. If you leave shadow form and you need to heal, you can actually do it with any issues, because shadow form does not cost a lot of mana like in TVC. So it's actually really important to know this, because you wanna use some plate of mending heals, especially against like DKs or any comms that can spread damage, so you can actually pound bounce and heal a lot your partners. For compositions for shadowpriest in Wrath of the Lich King in 2s and 3s, I think overall shadowpriest synergize pretty well with most of the classes. You can pretty much play with anyone. Um, I would recommend some comps that I consider that are S tier comps. For example, in 2v2 you can play shadowpriest row, you can play shadowpriest mage, and maybe why not with the resto shaman. Shadowpriest resto shaman. I personally don't know how good this comp is because I never tried, but have heard it can work. Like I mentioned before, like you can literally play with anyone. You can play Sharper's Red, Sharper's DK. The thing is, like, obviously they're not gonna be as good as other comps, like if you play Sharper's role, but that's just my personal opinion. You can just play with anyone as a Shadow Priest, but mainly you wanna play the most overpowered comps, right? If you wanna do well in arenas. For 3v3 comps, you can play Shadow Play, which is Shadow Mage, Resto Shaman. I think is one of the strongest comps in Wrath of the Lich King. Same as Shadow Play. At the end of the day, just play whatever you have the most fun with. I think like play with your friends and try to find partners to play with that you guys can improve together. Obviously, like there are certain comps that benefit in certain scenarios, but I think overall, Shadow Priest, like I mentioned before, um, synergize pretty well with most of the classes, most of the comps. So don't be afraid to try it out. New comps, try it out like weird stuff, like playing Shadow Priest Boomkin. You know, I think Shadow Priest will perform really, really, really good. Most of the cases and scenarios. And yeah, that is just my advice. Have fun, play arenas. There's no team rating. There is no teams in Wrath of the Lich King. There's just personal rating. The reason I say this is because personally, I don't wanna give an advice on certain comps because I haven't played Wrath of the Lich King since release, since retail, and I play a lot of the beta, but I didn't get to play a lot of the comps that I wanted to try. So I don't have a solid advice on certain comps you should play. I guess the ones that I mentioned before, like Shadow Priest Rogue, Shadow Priest Mage, are definitely S tier, same as Shadow Play and Shadow Play in trees. So definitely aim for to play one of those comps that I can mention. Yeah, just have fun, play with your friends, try new stuff. Shadow Priest is by far one of my favorite casters in Wrath of the Lich King, so I'm pretty sure you guys have the same feeling as I do when I play Shadow Priest, because Shadow Priest has such an amazing playstyle that not a lot of people can like understand. Like personally, I main Shadow Priest on retail, and I'm gonna be playing a lot of Shadow Priest in Wrath of the Lich King. So yeah, that's what I think about it. Whenever you play Shadow Priest, my main tip and advice are like whenever you're bursting someone down, you always wanna get your dots up. Always Mind Blast to get the buff for the mana. Also, like Mind Blast pumps a lot, same as whenever you do Mind Blast Shadow Death, it's like a big pump. Also, like you gotta know that DP is such an amazing spell. especially because with the improved DP that we get in Wrath, like it does an initial damage. So you can also like use DP as like a finisher, or like sometimes you literally spam DP to kill someone. The only issue with it is like it costs a lot of mana, so you have to be careful if you want to spam it. You always be tracking your mana, because a lot of the main issues that we have as a Shadow Priest in Wrath of the Lich King is over mana, how we manage our mana. So always make sure you are always you tracking your mana, and Mind Blast whenever you have BT up, so you get the buff for the mana region. Also, like sometimes you want to disperse the regions of mana, because the dispersion region 6% of your mana every 1 second, so you definitely sometimes want to disperse even though you're not gonna hit, just to get mana back. And also reliable on your Shadowfin uptime for the most mana back that you can get, because Shadowfin is like it does a lot of damage and reaches a lot of mana, as like I can explain on my DCE guide, right? So always keep track of your Shadowfin. It does a lot of damage. Same. That's why it's important to have the Shadowfin macro, like I mentioned before, with the Shadow Crawl. Another thing that I can advise is like remember that you can use Abolish Disease on shadowform. You want to be using Abolish Disease a lot against like DKs or ferals, because the slow the feral that they get isn't a disease, so you can actually like just remove it with the Abolish Disease. I know that Holidickets have a talent that they make their disease not be dispellable whenever the dead coil, I believe. But definitely you wanna have abolish disease at the start whenever you face them, because he actually like kind of like screw them a little bit on their rotation. So it's actually like good to know, like you always wanna have abolish. Also like as a buff protection, you know, it's like sheep and it's an extra buff. Also, another thing you gotta remember is like whenever you do damage, you get this proc, the Shadow Weaving. So it's like actually like a buff. So let's say for example you wanna protect a buff. Let's say for example you're gonna get fear and you wanna fear yourself, but there is someone that can dispel it. You also wanna you wanna revival on this buff so that you can stack it. So they they struggle more to dispel your buffs. It's actually good to know. I think overall that's it. Shadow Priest is a fun class. Make sure you have good mana management, and you definitely will have fun playing Shadow Priest. Is one of my favorite casters, and I think like for most of the people it is as well. So yeah, make sure like to. I'm pretty sure like I missed a lot of tips and tricks that I know. So yeah, I'm sorry for that. I will definitely be checking the comment section. Whatever you guys wanna ask me, I'm always like responding my messages. So yeah, don't be afraid of it. Well, that's it, boys. Thank you for watching my guide. I hope you guys enjoyed and learned something from my new guides, my Shadow Priest guide for Wrath of the Lich King. I know for a fact that I could have made this guy way better, and I am sorry in advance for my poorly work. I really struggle editing my own stuff and making guides, because I don't speak English as a main language, first of all, and no, it's not even that. It's just like I'm really bad at doing this. But one thing you guys gotta know is like I'm always like replying you guys messages. Like you guys can join my Discord and ask me anything. I also stream pretty much every day, and I'm gonna be streaming like a lot of Wrath of the Lich King, and I'm gonna be playing a lot of Shadow Priest. Shadow Priest, I love playing Shadow Priest. It's one of my mains on retail, so I definitely gonna be getting rank 1 as a Shadow Priest on Wrath of the Lich King. So yeah, I guess like you guys can always hit me up. I will always be replying to anyone. Any question is, you remember that it's better to ask a question rather than not asking. So if you like really like, don't be afraid to ask me anything. And yeah, that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this guide, and see you guys in the next one.